Everything feels so much more open. Today's plan, we are opening up the hives. We're going to see the condition of the hives. It's been 1 week since I was in here and did the reversing and adding supers and stuff. So today we're going to see the condition of all 3 hives, and we're going to see if we're ready for some splits. Check out the strength of the laying pattern and the brood and all that. We do have resource hives ready to go. We've got some frames, and let's just get right in. All right, we're going to start with the new package hive. Last week they had 1 box completely full. The bottom box was totally full, and I added this second box, which was empty. Just had, I think, some drawn frames on it. Put 1 frame of brood up here. They're working on 3 frames now. Not as fast of a buildup as I expected. Let's see what is going on down below. Last week there was brood on 6 frames. Pollen and nectar. Hatched brood, some larvae. A lot of little bees in here, brand new bees. Just a hatched out frame. A lot of waggle dances going on. Some newly capped brood here. Looks like they might be making a couple queen cups. They're empty. There's not a lot of resources in this hive. Like all these frames are super light. Keeping brood warm. Looks like the queen went up to the second box. All right, one thing I am seeing in here is there's no, like, very little nectar. There's a lot of pollen, very little nectar. There's capped brood, but no eggs down here. Not what I was hoping to find. Watch out. Alright, let's find a queen and see what we have for eggs up here. Here we go again with weird springtime, what you think would be a flow. Feels empty. Like, empty of nectar. These are all super light. Queen's right here. So, queen is on this frame, and there's all little tiny larvae in there, little commas. And more over here. Okay, this is a full frame of brood right here. I don't know if the camera's focusing, but all different stages of larvae in here, and a very active queen. So that's good. Where's the nectar? Heavy brood frame. There's some nectar, tiny bit of capped honey, and then a couple empty frames. This is where they're putting their nectar, right here, right next to the brood. Okay, this hive is not ready to split. Definitely not. BALBOA hive. Let's see if they made it up to the top box. Hello. They're up here. Nectar. Lots of nectar. Just like working on cells, repairing cells. No eggs. Storing honey. Tiny little queen cup at the bottom here. Very mellow. We're right in the middle of the day here, so there's a lot of foragers out. It's very quiet on these frames here. Cap and honey. This is a very heavy frame. That's all honey. Well, queen cup, empty. There's a queen. Right at the bottom. Alright, they're making a queen cup. There's larvae all over this frame. Hatching brood. Woo! It's just all brood. So she's laying all over these frames, which is great, but I wanted her to lay in the deep frames so that I can split the hive into a deep. Alright, there's definitely enough brood in here to do a split, but I really wanted her to get onto the deep frames, and she's not done that yet. I feel like there's a way to split this hive, but it would involve getting all the frames out and redistributing everything, putting some mediums up here, kind of pyramid mediums into the deeps to get them to move up into the deeps, get rid of the bottom box, and then just take some brood out of here and put it into a split hive. Just condense them down into one medium and one deep. I think that's the way to do this if I want to split this hive. Let's take a quick look at the Russians. Alright, one thing I am going to do with the Russians is start taking out this honey. They have too much honey in here. Last week I rotated the boxes. This was the box that was on the bottom last week. Full of pollen, tons of drone. Capped brood, but no eggs up here. Pollen and just bees hanging out. I guess I just expected a little more this week. I thought the flow was on. All the dandelions are in full bloom. The apples are opening up. That is a heavy frame. Alright, up here we got just some stores and bees hanging out. So no brood up here. Well, there's one frame with a little capped brood, and that's it. Let's find some brood, honey frame, some crystallized honey on that. It's that beautiful capped honey frame that keeps popping up. This is the heaviest frame. It's just packed with nectar. Alright, larva. Finally, capped brood and larva. Those are not swarm cells, they're just it's just comb. Larva, but no new eggs. It's a gigantic frame here. Lots going on this frame. Okay, we got swarm cups. We have nothing in them. Tons of drone. Tons of capped. There's a queen cup on the face here. It's empty. A couple swarm cells on the bottom. Empty. Where's the queen? The Russians are always a mystery. There she is. Okay. We do have a queen in the upper box. She's on a pollen frame. Why are you on the pollen frame? Come on this side. There's all empty cells over here, queen. It's like she's looking for a place to lay, but there's this is like pollen frame. I don't see any eggs. This is weird. Alright, there's some capped brood, but there's no new eggs. There's no there's a tiny, maybe one frame that has some larvae on it. Definitely not ready for a split. I need frames of brood, and we don't have it. Alright, I just took out a honey frame and I put in an empty frame just for them to start filling out. I'm also going to steal this honey frame. Just took a couple honey frames out of there so that they would have something to work on, but also it's getting a little crowded in there. There's no brood, but there's just tons of honey in there, so they don't need all that honey. Alright, weird situation. So this must be that feeling when you're ready for splits, but your bees aren't. Alright, the new package hive looks healthy, but there's not hardly any stores in there. We have dandelions, we have apple trees, we have forest is budding, and there's no nectar in that hive. Could it be that the bees were all young bees and they're just not flying yet? We don't have a lot of foragers. Could that be? Probably. A lot of brood hatched out, but they're just nurse bees, so they're still in the hive. There's just not a lot of resources in there. I mean, it's not like there was no nectar. I just expected, like, you know, capped honey or something. I don't know. But there's nectar in there. They're just eating it as it comes in, I think. And not enough brood to split. There's maybe a frame of larvae, maybe a frame and a half of larvae, and there's capped brood, but it's not crazy yet, so we're not ready. Balboa hive, filled with brood, tons of brood, possible to split, but I want to split into deeps, not into mediums. So I was thinking with the Balboa hive, I could kind of force a split to force it to make it work. I could take a couple of medium frames with brood, put them into the deep nuke to split with a full frame of honey and a full frame of drawn comb, and just let them exist in the nuke with 2 medium frames of brood. And if they want to draw out the mediums deeper, they can. I mean, I could do that. Let me know your thoughts on that. Or I could just kind of wait until she moves up into the deeps and just give her another couple weeks. Russian hive is full. There's a lot of bees. There's a lot of foragers out. There's capped brood. There's a queen. I didn't see any eggs. I saw a couple of like fat larvae, but no like really young little new larvae. So, you know, I hear Russian queens take a break sometimes. There was a queen cup. There was nothing in it, so I'm not too worried because Russians do that. Just queen might be taking a break. Sometimes Russian queens just take a break. Okay, so aside from doing some kind of Franken split with the Italians, there's no splits today. I'm gonna just wait another week. Again, the dandelions are in full bloom. We have spring flowers coming up. The apple trees are just opening now. So there's nectar out there. They just have to go get it. And I'm just gonna wait. This is beekeeping. One thing's for sure though, when the time for splits does come, I'm definitely prepared. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in about a week.